have back as our guest Diana Sheets, who's dark and sweet. It is a marvelous book because it really points out the flatlands of the Middle West, what have you, that we kind of look at here from the East Coast. And then the East Coast and the West Coast is permeated with tall buildings and various ethnicities that in fact the terror seems to want to drop bombs on us. A smattering of truth, but not really. They're somewhat exaggerated. And somewhat, Diana, you exaggerate them in the book, but it becomes very satirical. It becomes somewhat like a diary of three women. Rosalind Selby, who was a born-again Jew, and her daughter Arissa, who decides she's going to the flatlands where everything is normal. But Diana, would you take it from there with our viewers?
Yeah, so what I wanted to do, I moved to Champaign, Illinois about 12 years ago, and even though my mother was Iowa and half my family went to University of Iowa, it seemed like a foreign country. In fact, it reminded me of George Bernard Shaw's Britain and America are two nations divided by a common language.
Yes.
So I thought, well, we speak the same language, but we really don't.
But the manners are different.
Totally different. I mean, it's almost like going back into the 50s. People are polite, they're courteous, they're what the character calls OFPs. They're overly friendly people. They wave, they remember your name, they never leave you alone. And
they never leave you alone. That's the crisis. Yes. Now, we don't have that much time, but I want to get into Arissa goes off to the Middle West, and she's in her room one day, or in her house one day, after much picking, going back and forth to her houses, entertaining a friend, and she has a dog that is kind of an inheritance from a former lover. And she hears a lot of barking and screaming. Will you take it from there to Charlie Hayes?
Oh, you're talking about the end of the novel, or
the beginning?
Which is in fact the ending. Yeah. So she's gotten this dog because she's got a peeping Tom, and her ex-convict African-American lover has trained her to make it an attack dog. And the dog takes off and runs after Charlie Hayes and jumps him and chops off
and denudes him.
Yes,
his extremities.
yes. And then the doctor is able to reattach it, and this just becomes a mammoth celebrity.
But I have to tell you, I love the way you do it with all the newspapers covering the incident, which in fact Charlie ultimately sues Arissa. Arissa sues Charlie. Yeah. Charlie sues it because he can't get an erection again. She sues him because she now has a writing block and she can't write it. Take it from there.
Well, I really was borrowing a page from Tom Wolfe and his Bonfire of the Vanities, and this wonderful big panoramic view of New York. Only I wanted it to be all of America, and so I went back and noticed that indeed he had used newspaper articles. So I found it a wonderful way to have the penultimate scene, the second to last scene of the novel, but put it at the beginning so people can get an idea of just how zany and crazy this story is.
But also you do it in the format of these newspaper
articles,
which is so terrific.
And you get all these points of views and these characters, and you get the whole story and it's never a consistent story. And so the reader gets an idea of just how wacky and weird America is, and really the humor of living today.
Well, your humor just permeates the whole book.
Yeah.
There are various scenes I love. The Thanksgiving dinner and the place that kept reminding me of Greenwich, Connecticut, where the born-again mother comes with her Jewish lover, what have you, and there's a big scene. I just love it because usually at all holiday celebrations, there's something horrendous that happens.
Yep.
So would you just kind of run us through what happens there when the child wants to give a blessing to the dinner?
So it's a Thanksgiving meal, and that there's a dog and cats, and they've been grabbing food and eating at the sofa, and Rosalind, the mother, is very, very upset, and Sophie, the daughter with the three children, is trying to keep a semblance of order.
It's very tense, like most women who've just put a huge dinner out for their mother, and the mother's lover, what have you, is a little bit tense.
Yeah, and so they've all settled down to the Thanksgiving meal. She thinks, okay, it's all over, nothing more can happen. and the youngest son wants to say grace. And Rosalind, the mother, is very upset. She's got her Jewish lover there, and she's really reinvented herself as someone who's Jewish. But her children don't know this.
Yes,
and so every time the child tries to finish
a Christian blessing.
Yes, with God and Jesus
the mother
Christ.
Jumps up and she's going to leave, and
and so it just shows you all of these family and what in fact I do in the novel is every time there's a family gathering, it just gets more and more outrageous. So the final gathering.
Well, I mean, let's go to Arissa, who gave the Thanksgiving luncheon, and here she is in the flatlands, normal country. Well, normal country comes with tornadoes and hurricanes. Take us through that luncheon.
So she has all her friends gathered. She's got her ex-boyfriend who's Jewish from New York, and he's not doing well. I mean, there's not a real good Jewish deli. They pput mayonnaise on everything.
That kind of killed me. Mayonnaise on pastrami. I thought,
well,
no.
they do. There was a there
really?
is in this deli in town. I mean, I didn't have to invent a lot of this.
Oh, okay.
But Arissa has this house. Actually, we have also. It's a house very much like the characters. It was designed by Harry Weiss, who did the subway system in Washington, D.C. Anyhow, it's a very small house. It has no interior spaces. It's got no basement, and the tornado is coming through.
That is so marvelous. Where's your basement? Hello?
and so you have this really, you're in the hands of fate.
Her guests who are born and bred Midwesterners say, well, we must go right to the basement. And
Arissa says, well, there is none, and the only interior space is about 4 feet wide with doors slamming open.
Meanwhile, her transplanted New Yorker is really making this whole dinner, just turning it into a horror.
Yes, and this is for him a nightmare come true, and the whole Midwest experience is making him very ill. So, but it just shows the calamity when you transport New Yorkers to flyover country and you put them down in the middle of the flatlands. So
yeah, but she finds water rises to its own level type thing. Does she not find another New Yorker? Arissa finds.
Well, she ends up with an ex-con, so he's not really a New Yorker.
But her friend, her girlfriend.
Oh, yes, she does.
I found that kind of incredible.
She found Mitzi. And
did you base this on something where somebody went someplace and found their own kind, even in the middle of all these foreigners?
I have a friend in town who's Jewish, and grew up in the New York and then Pittsburgh area, and she's really outrageous and a very strong character. And in fact, she was the one with the bow and arrow, so I decided that Arissa could take up archery and shoot all the critters in her backyard because she has this natural born killer instinct. And so you meet these characters, and I think the thing that's really amazing about the Mitzi character was based on this woman, Carol Mizrahi, is that
I fell in love with her. I mean, a brief time. I just really liked her.
She's an outrageously strong character, and
she can rise to any occasion. Nobody can. Passive-aggressive remarks just don't bite.
And nothing stops her. And this creates problems with overly friendly people who know decorum and know rules and get very upset when you step in front of the line and you break those rules. So
isn't that kind of amazing, though? I mean, this book is just terrific because it really brings home U.S. of A. today. You know. Indeed, what is it all about? And it is, you put all these people together, and they're almost like a bunch of Afrikaners coming upon a bunch of Austrians, coming upon a bunch of Irishmen, that indeed everybody comes with their own bag of charms. And you do it, every chapter is absolutely marvelous. Our guest today has been Diana Sheets. The name of the book is American Sweet, and it told me something that I already knew, but a lot of people don't really realize that this is America, and it comes with all its warts and pimples, but a lot of laughs too. Thank you so much for being our guest, Diana.
Pleasure.
Delight
Thank you.
As usual. Oh yes, your website. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay, my website is Literary Gulag, and I urge everybody to go and take a look. It's got literary criticism, it's got some of my fiction, and it's got political commentary. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Yep.